Hello everyone, it's Robert Borges. Thank you for coming back to my channel. Today I thought I'd do something a little bit different. I wrote a creepypasta for Halloween. It's the first creepypasta I've ever written, so I'm kind of nervous about sharing it, but I hope that you enjoy it. The creepypasta is called The Human Nesting Doll. Here you go. The Human Nesting Doll. The old single-story house with peeling white paint stood on the corner of a blighted neighborhood where potholes and cracks riddled the street. The occasional homeless drug addict could be witnessed walking about the neighborhood in search of an abandoned home to squat in. The angry pit bull on a long chain staked in the yard made sure none of them chose this house. A rusty small chain-link fence surrounded the home's ugly yard. Weeds, tall and abundant, choked out the lawn and sprawled out across the cement walkway to the door, making it barely visible. Bowing over towards the street to the left of the walkway was a single dying maple tree. Adding to this depressed sight, various portions of the home's roof drooped with weeds growing under and between the shingles, and windows, cracked and broken, sat crooked across the front of the house. A broken upright piano stood curiously in one of the corners of the yard, with various metal pieces of a disassembled bicycle littered all about it. Walking hand in hand on the sidewalk affront the house, a young male and female couple, both dressed in jeans and black hoodies, slowly came to a stop. They turned and faced the horror home with excited smiles. The pit bull sat and looked at them fondly. The male glanced at his girlfriend and said, "This is it." The female let go of his hand and covered her mouth with hers. She appeared to be trembling and holding back tears. A breach in the fence invited the visitors to approach the home. Slowly they crossed into the lawn, their black boots forcing tall weeds down as they went. They found the cracked cement walkway, hidden in the weeds, and followed it to the rotted front door. Slightly crooked in its frame, the wooden orange-stained door appeared to have been damaged occasionally by squatters. Burn marks acneed the door's visage, hinting that bored vandals were once there before the mean dog took residence. The house had no front porch. Instead, there was just a small single cement step below the raised doorframe. The male pulled and pushed the knob, thinking the door must be loose, but it was securely locked or jammed shut. Then the smell of the house hit them. Shit, decaying flesh, and vomit was the amalgamated aroma. The male keeled over and retched on the green crabgrass and dandelions. As he recovered, he realized the pit bull was lovingly licking his face. The female rolled her eyes and giggled. Rays of light from the setting sun lit on a crowbar which lay visible in the weeds. The sickened visitor picked it up and used it to pry open the door. It quickly swung inward. An empty white living room lay before them, empty except for a colossal blob of flesh that pulsated in the back right-hand corner, and hundreds of flies buzzing and kamikazing into the faces of the guests. Sheets of flesh sewn together in zigzag patterns made up the shell of this writhing, maggot-like thing. Blood splatters stained the walls and floor around it. A brown substance oozed from between the stitches. The female dropped to her knees in front of the sickening mass. She produced a switchblade from her left jeans pocket and opened it. The blade punctured the fleshy, maggot-covered mass and released wretched gas into the air. Oozing from the new wound came a mixture of blood and feces. It spilled and spread out slowly across the floor. The male turned back around and stepped outside the front door, nearly vomiting again. He couldn't understand why his better half could take the stench. When he regained his senses, he turned back around to see the blob squirming violently. The puncture hole had enlarged to reveal a writhing human body inside. The female began to tear and pull the skin sheath away from the naked body. It was the body of a man. His stomach was split from sternum to pelvis, and then sewn back together again. It was swollen as if pregnant. The skin around his eyes was sunken, causing them to bulge with the look of insanity. Peppering his legs and arms were pus-infected sores. His blood-caked body shook in spasms. His mouth opened in a failed attempt to scream. The female responded by plunging the switchblade in the front of his neck and then cutting sideways until she found and severed his jugular. Sprays of blood saturated her face and hoodie jacket. She stuck out her tongue to catch delicious drops of blood. Her attention changed from his neck to his abdomen. The tip of her switchblade broke each stitch, one by one, from the bottom up. As she performed this task, something inside began to push outward like a baby kicking from inside. As the stomach spread open, a pulsating amniotic sac appeared. Gnarled purple veins fanned out across its translucent surface. This excited and drew the male in closer from the doorway to get a better view. A baby was visible inside, with its back and legs covered in black fur. It tried to kick and scratch its way out. Tears of joy spilled from the female's eyes, cleansing away some of the blood from her face. She assisted the baby by carefully slicing an escape for it. The beast reached out its claw-like hand. Tenderly, its new mother caressed and held its hand. She carefully lifted it from the dead man's steaming carcass. Its feet were in the shape of hooves, and a small goat-like tail lashed about atop its backside. The guests left the house and knelt together on the walkway. Silvery moonlight blessed their presence, illuminating them like a spotlight. The male removed his hoodie and used it to wrap the trembling baby, who was still dripping with fluid. He handed the bundle back to the smiling mother, who rocked the baby and caressed its forehead with love. The baby's face was human with no beast-like features. It opened its eyes and stared blankly at his mother. The pit awakened and lifted its head, perking up its ears and browsing at the new family with short-lived curiosity. With apathy, it put its head back down on the ground and quickly fell back asleep. After a short rest, the couple got up and walked away down the street with the baby nestled to its mother's chest. They turned the corner and began their walk home. The male put his arm around the mother, and she glanced up at him with content. He kissed her cheek and whispered in her ear, "Hail Satan." So there you have it. That was my first creepypasta. I hope you enjoyed it. I think the moral of the story is when a man truly loves someone, he'll do anything to make his loved one happy, including selling his soul to Satan. I hope the young couple thinks it's worth it and that they enjoy happiness for the rest of their lives, even though they have a weird-ass goat baby now to take care of. I don't even want to think about what it's like to change that goat's diapers. That would be absolutely sickening. But on the bright side, whenever they run out of formula, all they got to do is throw the baby out in the lawn and let it gnaw on the grass. I guess that's a bright side if there is one. And I hope that my story didn't churn your stomach too much. If it did, just look at it as me looking out for you. I'm looking out for your figure. I don't think that you need to be gobbling down all that Halloween candy this year. It's just not healthy. So I'm just looking out for you, that's all. Alright, thank you for joining my channel, and I hope that it entertained you. I hope that my first creepypasta was good. I hope it's not a crappy pasta, but I guess if it is, I don't mind, just as long as people enjoy it in some way or form, even if they think that it's funny. Alright, bye.